Live from Fargo and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live at 5.
We're following a developing story for you tonight from Kennedy Elementary. The school went into lockdown this morning on 2 separate occasions. The school district hasn't released exactly why the lockdowns happened, but one Valley News Live viewer says it was because of an unruly student. The school district does say some staff members needed medical attention after the 2 lockdowns. Stick with Valley News Live for more information on this story as it develops. A man from Becker County has been charged in connection with a death in Audubon earlier this week. 29-year-old Michael Ray Mason is charged with second-degree murder without intent. On Tuesday, police were called to a home at 390 Eagle Street in that town for a report of shots fired. The name of the man who died in the incident has not yet been released. It's time to take a look at this week's Valley's Most Wanted. Police say 39-year-old Dusty Joe Keir is wanted for a probation violation on a robbery charge and also for theft, shoplifting, and possession of marijuana. You can call your local law enforcement if you have any information on her. Pretty calm out there. There's more snow moving through, but not for everyone. Oh, maybe not so calm with that flag flying in the wind. Hutch, anything to worry about this evening?
Yeah, this is not from Fargo, but in our far southern counties, you're looking at our Storm Team Skycam network shot from the Dakota Magic Casino. The I-29 corridor there getting a shot of snow and gusty winds. Slippery roads across the valley, but most of the snow skirted just to the south of the FM area, mainly spread from the Bismarck region south towards Sisseton. The heaviest band south on 29, south of Sisseton, north of Watertown. In those locations, that 3 to 6 inch total won't be out of the question, but in places like Wahpeton, Breckenridge, you may get a ½ inch to an inch of snow. Fargo, we should stay quiet as this system exits. Winter weather advisories remain in effect down there. Here is a view from Sisseton, I-29. Well, there's some pavement visible there, but certainly some icy conditions. Now, as we head into the weekend, it's that north wind that will usher in some very cold temperatures. This evening, bundle up. Wind chills near 0, and by morning will be below 0 as temperatures will be in the single digits out there. So a cold start to the weekend. Does not look like we see more snow this weekend, but it does look cold. I'll have details on all of that in a few minutes.
I'm just hoping for calm, and by putting it in a script, then I can, it comes true, right?
Yeah. Sometimes the flag just does that.
Yeah, right. Thanks, Hutch.
You bet.
Snow and ice were partly to blame for a 1-car crash near Alexandria, Minnesota. State troopers say a driver lost control on a slippery highway in Douglas County around 11 last night and ended up in the ditch. Her injuries are not serious. Medical examiners are trying to ID the victim of a deadly car train crash in the Southern Valley. The Wilkin County Sheriff's Office says the driver of an SUV died in a crash with a train at a crossing near Doran, Minnesota. That's south of Breckenridge. It happened yesterday morning. The victim's vehicle burst into flames after impact. Roads were icy at the time, but it's not clear if that was a factor in the crash. Ride-sharing services like Uber and Lyft have been in the area for a few years now, with their most popular use being a sober ride home from bars and parties. The hope was they would be an option to cut down on drunk drivers on the road. But statistics say that hasn't happened everywhere in the Valley. Valley News Team's crime and safety reporter Bailey Hurley talked with local law enforcement who say they don't want high price tags and longer wait times to stop people from getting home safely.
The holiday season brings more parties and more outings to our social calendar, meaning more opportunities for drinking and later trying to find a way to get home.
Having these other services available where they can just call for that ride using an app. They don't have to talk to anybody. It notifies them when they're en route and it notifies them when they're there. Has made a difference in our community.
Swenson says rides from Lyft or Uber come in handy, but sometimes riders are forced to wait a few extra minutes. And when it's winter, that's when he says he sees the most problems.
We found people were waiting for a half hour, an hour, and a lot of times the bar obviously wanted them out. So there'd be people outside, and after a while people were just cold and fed up of waiting, and they would, make the decision to take their own ride home, a lot of times drive, or have their friend who also had been drinking drive.
But during bar close and other popular times, prices can get a little spendy. People telling us they've paid over $150 just to go a few miles. But Swenson points out that's a much cheaper bill than a DUI. Experts say the amount of drunk drivers triples over the holiday season, reminding people to download rideshare apps or save taxi services in your phone.
The best thing about it is helping people that were leaving bars drunk. I mean, I was helping them out so they wouldn't get into a car and go drive being drunk and killing somebody or killing themselves.
In Fargo, Bailey Hurley, Valley News Live.
784 DUI arrests were made in Clay County in 2004. 418 were made in 2015. 72 people died from drunk driving related accidents versus 129 in 2008. And here are some stats from West Fargo. Last year, there were 160 DUI arrests, and this year, as of November 5th, there have been 197. Certain businesses, organizations, or programs that offer services to children and teens are concerned about new regulations for their employees. They say it's taking too long for fingerprint-based background checks, and it's hurting their business.
An example, for every staff that I'm short, 14 to 20 children do not have services. So if I'm short 3 staff, that could affect up to 60 kids. And their parents, and 120 employees would be infected too. So this is not only just a child care issue, it's a workforce issue.
On Valley News Live at 6, we'll hear from the State Department that does criminal background checks, asking about the turnaround time for these fingerprint-based screenings. A hero's welcome at Hector International Airport as 12 soldiers from the 1st Battalion, 188th Air Defense Artillery Regiment returned to Fargo today. The soldiers were stationed in Washington, D.C. on a mission of protecting the airspace in the nation's capital. Most of the soldiers returned in February, but the soldiers returning today volunteered to remain on duty in Washington, D.C. for an extended period and ended their mission this month.
It's been really nice to come home for the holidays. I missed a few of them back home throughout the year, so it's really nice to actually be home enough time to spend the time with them.
A total of 28 soldiers stayed for duty, of which 19 will return home to North Dakota. The remainder will travel to destinations outside the state. Retired Minnesota Supreme Court Justice and former Vikings player Alan Page has received the Presidential Medal of Freedom. This afternoon, President Trump honored Page and 6 other recipients with the highest civilian honor in the nation. Page played for the Vikings from 1967 until 1978 and was a member of the legendary Purple People Eaters. He was the NFL's most valuable player in 1972, the first defensive player to earn the honor. He also served on the state's Supreme Court for 22 years. It's beginning to look a lot like Christmas at West Acres Mall as they're preparing for their 20th annual event, It's a Wonderful Night. Many stores will be offering various sales, but organizers say this event is about giving back to the community, and all ticket proceeds will go back to the 60-plus organizations that take part in the event.
We're so prideful of our community, and we know how many organizations do so good. And so if this is just a small way we can contribute to their success, we think it's a great way to not only spread some joy in our community, but also give back to the community that does so much for us too.
After this year, It's a Wonderful Night will have raised over $700,000 for organizations in the community. A big accomplishment for West Fargo, as it has been named one of 2018's best small cities in America. The city of West Fargo landed at number 10 on the list. Recently, Wallet Hub released a list that compared more than 1,200 U.S. cities with populations between 25,000 and 100,000 based on 40 key factors of livability. West Fargo's low cost of living, crime rate, and unemployment rate, as well as income and education levels, helped to propel it to the top 1% of all cities examined.